Hello. So I just finished a really nice creative weekend. I was in a bit of a flurry. I was designing posts for the Canvas Instagram feeds because it was looking a little bit sparse in there, and I wanted to get ahead of myself and get some lead time on the post scheduling. And I got to the end of it, and I think it's share worthy for a couple of different reasons. Number one would be just showcasing the versatility of Canvas and the kind of the impactful punch I think I've created through what's about to start arriving on Instagram. But I also think that the process of designing your Instagram feed with intention is something that's definitely share worthy. So I'm going to just take you through step by step what I did to kind of get to this end result of a nice big long list of and you know, not completely finished, but a really nice selection of images that have a purpose behind them and consistency in their design. So what I did first of all was I go for my references, and one of my favorite references on Instagram is It's Lennie. And if you don't know It's Lennie, you're missing out. There's a hole in your life. You need to follow It's Lennie. This page gives me so much joy. It's very much it's a very personal account. It speaks to the heart of humans. They're not selling anything yet, or at least it's not apparent. But the colors, the consistency, the joyfulness out of it, and sometimes just the simplicity, you know, they don't go crazy all of the time, and I just love it. And obviously because it's hand drawn, it kind of fits in with my style as well with Canvas. But I love It's Lennie. So this was a huge inspiration for me. And another one that I really love is Cozy Juicy Real. Their Instagram page really tickles me. They go with color blocks, so we have like a really nice purple color block here, and then we move into the teals, and then we move into the greens, and everything has, you know, it's product related, but it's also really personal, and I think that they have a really nice human touch in their brand. So I definitely look towards these peeps because their page makes me happy, and even on an individual level, these posts are really nice too. And then another one is Miriam Hadness from Workshops Work. I'm not going to lie, I designed this, and I looked back at it for reference just to see how that color categorization that I had defined for Miriam, how it was working out. And even when Instagram, when things start moving, you get a new post in and things are shifting, you have to be aware of that when you're designing for it. But even when, you know, the new colored tile moves on to the next line, it doesn't detract. It's very clear that is a succession of posts, and it's really pleasing to the eyes, I think. And another one I quite like, AC Creatives. They're a little bit all over the place, but they also use hand-drawn elements, and they're pretty consistent with their color usage, and some of them are simple, some of them with people. A little bit of a mishmash over here, but there was definitely pieces that I wanted to reference, like just these little small details that you see in the corners. You don't have to go crazy with visuals, but you can just add small elements around it that kind of embellish your message. And then I came into Instagram pattern ideas because I thought, well, why reinvent the wheel? Because other people are doing this all over the place. If you type in Instagram pattern ideas, you're going to come up with actual examples, but you're also going to come up with things like this, where people are already looking at preset patterns with different colors, and you can make a choice as to how you want to move forward with it. So that's what I did. I came into Figma. And let me just go into my process document. So I started playing around with just different layouts, different themes. And then I realized I'm doing this without a purpose. I need to think about, if I want my post to be visually categorized, which I think is a great idea, it's good to set yourself some rules. It makes designing a lot easier. What would my categories be? And in which case that defines how many colors I'm going to need. So I basically decided that I would like to have some simple illustrations like in It's Lennie. I'd like to, of course, show examples of the product in use. I'd like to offer educational tips, not just about Canvas, but about how you can make better visual workshops or visual documentation. How can you apply design principles to your work? And then product messages. You know, that's very important. If you're a brand, you want to be communicating what you're all about. So then I realized, okay, I have 4 colors, and I started playing around with how I could make them look. And in the end, I really liked this version, you know, really nice kind of gradient. It goes from soft up to the more hard colors, the stronger colors. And then with that, I thought, okay, so then what are my final visual categories going to be when we apply those colors? So I set myself these marks. Then what I knew I wanted to do also was to have content kind of bleed in. So I want to plan it so that this post here also has a little bit from the post underneath, so that we're just starting to get a bit of movement in the page. And what I did was I set up, because we have 4 colors, and we also have to understand that when we add in a new post, everything shifts along. And I just wanted to see what that looked like when that happens. And actually, as it turns out, not too much changes, because everything is shifting to the left with the one above. So it's only when, for example, this orange moves up to this spot over here that anything kind of breaks. And it doesn't really matter too much, but it is good to kind of design with that in mind and just do a bit of a test. But I'm quite happy that everything is just shifting along. I then took these kind of samples and I laid them up over here. Yeah, I laid them here. And so I was like, okay, if I just repeat this pattern, what does that look like? And I didn't like it because it's too repetitive. You know, if you just stare down this middle column, too quickly are we seeing the same repeating element in all 3 columns. I think perhaps to the untrained eye you don't notice it, but I notice it. I can see that there are 3, just everything is repeating. So I thought, okay, well, what about if I create another 2 sets of they're just different, and you can almost ignore, let's for the time being just ignore these ones, because that's just showing me what they look like when we shift the tiles. So they're slightly different. In one of them I have, you know, maybe I was focusing on which colors am I going to have extend in each of them, and make sure that all of the colors got a turn to be extended, but not always in this same small block, because we don't want it to be too busy. So I created 3 alternates, and they look like, rather than just duplicating the same one over and over again, they look like this, which again, to the untrained eye, perhaps they still just look the same, but I can see that now we have a bit more movement, a bit more interest, and I'm much happier with that one. So then what I did was I started planning it out. And if we come here, you can see that this is my original one. We come back down here to do a little look. So you can see that in these top ones, they start to have a little bit of the bottom ones kind of moving into them, but on their own it still looks pretty cool. So if I bring this out, you know, on its own that post looks great, but together it really starts painting a picture, and I love it. You will notice that over down here, or you may not have noticed, but I noticed, you know, I didn't actually say that that was going to happen. You know, I didn't have this, for example. Oh, can't do it because it's a symbol. I don't have it shown, but this isn't about making rules that you can't break. It's once you know the rules also, you can start to bend them a little. And also when it comes to those visual messages, so I said that I want each of my color tiles to have a specific message. Well, when I'm just at the very start of my Instagram feed and there are specific messages I want to be communicating in succession, I actually can't follow that rule of having, you know, if my product message only comes 1 every 4 tiles, it's going to take a long time before I get my product message across. So I'm happy to break that rule for just now. I'm just setting up the foundations and giving everybody an understanding of what Canvas is at the start, and then I can move more into the patterns, and probably by then I'll have a different idea and want to do it a bit differently because maybe I'm a bit bored of this, but that's how I'm going to do it for just now. I think one of my favorites was this one. Oh, I love this diving, and then just the way it connects to the waves of the one below. It tickles me. I love it. Also, I love this one, you know, and there's so much you could do with it. And I think it also shows that the Canvas people also don't have to be the default style that they come in the pack. You know, you can change them to be different colors to suit your own brand. And everything that came from here, I drag and dropped straight from the app. So there was, I think there's a few tiny tweaks, you know, to be able to do this. I had to make tweaks in Figma. and a few other things like that in different places. But for the most part, all of these are as part of the package. These logos are not, though, I must say. I'm not going. I don't think it's right for me to put other companies' logos as they are in Canvas. And then over here, I just started plotting out, okay, well, some of them are going to be carousels, so what do the different states of the carousels look like? And I was able to export them, so I thought it was a really good idea to just show, okay, in this impact effort matrix, we only have 6 different elements, and you can make something that's simple but also really delightful. Milestones as well. And then, sometimes I would create something and then it didn't actually get used. It wasn't the right time to talk about it, or I'm just dropping ideas for future. Anyway, this is a 10-minute video. I can't believe it. I hope that if you reach the end, I salute you. I really do. Thanks for your time and have a beautiful day. Thank you. From me and the Canvas Instagram page. Follow getcanvas.design on Instagram, and you can watch this story unfold.